Chapter 17. "Come on, Kat! Just go!" Sean yelled at me from the passenger seat. "Just give me a minute. This is my first time attempting the interstate. I don't want to kill us," I screamed back. "It's fine. You will be fine. Just pull out of the parking lot and go. I have better things to do with my Saturday than to teach you how to drive." He was getting flustered. "Then go," I shot back. I'm not sure how I got stuck with the daddy duties, but look, here we are. You have to learn how to drive the interstate before you can get a license. You need a driver's license in order to be a successful adult in this world. Now, push that little pedal on the right with your foot and let's go, Sean lectured. Can't I just hire a driver when I'm older? Until then, I will gladly take advantage of public transportation, I pleaded. He turned to look at me with a serious yet softer face. "What's going on, Kat?" He read me like a book, even when he hated me. I gripped the wheel even though we were not moving and stared ahead off into space. "Are you scared?" he asked. I nodded as my lower lip began to quiver with the threat of impending tears. "Why are you scared?" he asked gently. I did not want to reveal to my brother the truth. This hate-hate relationship made it difficult to open up to him, yet that morning I found myself spilling the depths of my long-hidden secret to my hateful brother. "After Grandfather died, I kept having nightmares of you and I getting into car accidents," I confessed. Sean let it all sink in and understood my incredible fears. "Those are just dreams. If you are careful and alert, you will never have to worry about that," he said as sympathetically as he could muster. "I have just been having these dreams for so long now. I feel like it will happen one day," I told him. "Well, all the more reason to get your driver's license and drive the hell away from me," he laughed. After I did move out, the nightmares stopped. I all but completely forgot about them. Until right after our accident. I woke up from an incredibly nightmare-fueled sleep where our accident seemed to loop on repeat to the sound of an empty IV alarm. It jarred me into consciousness, and I glanced across the room. Mother had been replaced by a now stirring Alan. Sleeping in a recliner must be a very uncomfortable way to get your Z's. A new nurse came in to turn off the IV drip. "Good morning," she said softly. "I will go get the doctor and see if he is ready to discharge you now." She headed back out of the room. "How did you sleep?" Alan asked, coming to my side. "This is just like a night at the Ritz," I joked hoarsely. "The staff is so attentive, room service is prepared in very little time, but I have yet to try out the jacuzzi tub to make my final decision on whether I should give this place 4 stars. Alan smiled. I knew the night had worn him out. Parents and step-parents alike must never stop being parents. This job must go on and on forever. I wonder if Alan knew that when he married my mother. "Good morning, Miss Wilde." Another handsome doctor popped into the room. He pulled out my chart and began looking through it. "Let's take a look at you and see if we can get you home," he smiled. The poking, prodding, and light shining commenced. I was extremely sore and a little dizzy with a dull headache, but otherwise felt okay. I wanted to see Sean. That was my only reasoning for wanting to leave right away. "You are still going to be a little sore. You had a slight concussion, but show signs of great improvement this morning." He turned to Alan. "If she complains of dizziness, her headache gets worse, she gets confused, disoriented, or forgetful, bring her back straight away," he instructed. "What should we do for her at home?" he asked the doctor. "Rest and fluids. I will write a prescription for pain. Give her one as needed," he said as he scribbled on a little pad of paper, tore it from the pad, and handed it to Alan. "Otherwise, we are ready to let you go. I will write this all up now, and we will have you on your way. Take care, Miss Wilde." And with that, he left the room. The nurse came in and opened a tucked-away closet door to hand me a bag of my bloody clothes and my purse. I hastily opened the purse to make sure the ring was still there. It was. I would go give it to Sean as soon as I got dressed. He was probably freaking out that it was missing right now. I hobbled to the bathroom as soon as the nurse removed my IV and excess tubing. It felt like I had not peed in months. I was still a little dizzy, but pushed through to go see Sean. I put on my blood-stained clothes and looked in the mirror for the first time. My face was white. I looked like death. I had large stitches protruding from my left cheek and forehead. Both eyes were blackened. I looked like Frankenstein. My white t-shirt had now browned with dried blood. Wonderful. It reeked of a musky blood smell. So I decided as soon as I made sure Sean was okay, I would collapse into a hot bath. I came out of the bathroom and Alan was standing there ready to help. His face drained of color when he saw my clothing. The whole visual effect of a broken face and bloodied t-shirt made the reality of my situation sink in. It was a miracle I was alive. It was a miracle I was going home. The nurse came in with a wheelchair and handed various papers to Alan. It included my discharge papers, how to take care of my stitches, when to come back to get them removed, and information on concussions. We were ready to roll now. As I sat down in the wheelchair, I looked up at Alan. "I need to go see Sean now," I told him. Both the nurse and Alan looked hesitant. "I have to see him," I pleaded. "Kat, I am not sure that is such a good idea right now," Alan said, kneeling down to my side. "I don't care if it is a good idea or not. I will see him." The fear of the situation and the apprehensive energy in the air made my voice shake with anger as tears began to form in my eyes. "I don't think you are quite ready yet. Let's get you home and cleaned up, rest up for a few days, and I will bring you back," he suggested. Rest up for a few days? How long was he supposed to be in the hospital? Please. Tears escaped my eyes as I realized how bad it must be. Alan put his head down, not knowing what to do. "I need to see my brother," I said with such force through the tears that Alan knew I was not going to be backing down. "Okay, but only for a few minutes. Then we go, and you are to rest." For the first time since I had met this man, Alan sounded stern. I nodded in agreement and was pushed in silence by Alan down the hall to the elevator. I panicked for a moment, thinking Alan had lied to me and just got me to be quiet in order to take me out of the hospital. But maybe Sean was resting comfortably at his home. Maybe they did not want him to see me covered in blood and all stitched up. But Alan would never lie, and his energy would not be so full of fear if Sean was at home. We got in the elevator, and he pressed floor number 2. Oh, what floor was that? The doors opened to reveal the letters ICU in bold type above the large doorway. I told Alan to stop, and I climbed out of the wheelchair. I could walk from now on. Alan held my arm as he directed me to a room all the way at the end of the hall. An exhausted mother was dozing in a recliner similar to what I had in my room. Cecily was asleep on a cot in the far corner of the room. Sean was unconscious. He looked completely helpless, more tubes and wires coming out of him than the computers he communicated with every day. He was hooked up to a machine that breathed for him. He was covered in stitches. He was also black and blue. He was just barely there. Mother, sensing people at the doorway, stirred, then looked up and saw me. Her mouth dropped as she took me all in. I know she was surprised to see me there. I could not move for a moment. I stood paralyzed in the doorway. That could have been me laying there. If he had not turned the other direction, he would be going home to start his family, and I would be the vegetable. That was how it should be. That's how it was supposed to be. Why did you have to love me, Sean? Why? Then, The breakdown of my sanity began. I became an incoherent mess as the tears escaped my eyes. The salt seeped into my stitches on my cheek and stung. "Damn you, Sean!" I screamed to everyone's surprise as I pushed forward to his bedside. Cecily jolted upright in the cot. "Why did you have to save me? I have nothing to live for. You did. You had everything to live for. Why did you have to love me?" I collapsed forward onto his chest, grabbed his still hand. Mother and Alan were gently on either side, trying to pull me off of him. "No, please! I want my brother!" I shouted. Nurses began filing into the room to help manage my colossal meltdown. "I just want my brother back. That's all," I sobbed. "We all do, honey, but he can still hear you. Talk to him," Mother said gently, but loud enough to be heard over my wailing. I stopped short and lifted my head up. I grabbed his hand and squeezed. I leaned up and quietly spoke into his ear. "I love you, big brother. Your family is waiting for you to wake up." I kissed his cheek, then turned around and left the room. I couldn't handle it. I was not strong enough to live this life. I was not strong enough to survive this. Give me an amazing family and just in one giant sweeping motion break it apart? I did not care about finding my soulmate. I cared about going home, falling asleep, and never waking up again.